Hey, it's Carl here from PresentationExpressions.com. Today I've got something a little bit more special for you because we've covered all of the expressions that you need for a complete presentation. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a review of all of the presentation expressions that I've taught you so far. So why is this important? Well, it's just good so that you can have everything in one place. So you can see all the expressions that we've used in one little video here, okay? So here we go, okay? So here are the expressions. And we're going to start with the very beginning. There are 12 expressions in total, all right? So here we go. The very beginning, the introduction. Thank you for being here today. I'm Carl from PresentationExpressions.com. I'm here today to talk to you about all of the presentation expressions. Or, thank you for joining me here this evening. I'm Carl and I'm from PresentationExpressions.com. I'm here today to talk to you about all of the expressions that I've taught you. Next, connecting with your audience. Okay, so you can ask two questions. What's the first thing you think about when you hear the words presentation, PowerPoint? Or, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you see this? So the first one, you would tell them some words, and the second one, you'd show some kind of a picture. So this way, the audience is engaged into your presentation, okay? They're engaged in your presentation, not into. Engaged in your presentation. They're involved right away. The next one is telling your audience what your presentation's topic is. Really important, okay? So you have to tell them what you're going to talk about. What I want to do today is give you the information you need to learn how to make an effective presentation, for example, okay? You need to create a great presentation. So you're going to tell them maybe some kind of skill or some kind of information that they need to do something. Next one is going to be introducing your presentation's main points. So, very easy. I've divided my presentation into 3 parts. Or, I've divided my presentation into 3 sections. First, okay, then you tell them their main part, the first part. Second, then the second part. And third, whatever the third part is. Okay? So, first, I'm going to talk about, candy. Second, I'm going to talk about chips. And third, I'm going to talk about, pizza. Okay? If your topic is about junk food, for example. Next one, telling your audience how you'll deal with questions, okay? So if you want the audience to ask questions at the end of the presentation, this is what you're going to say. I ask that you hold off on your questions until the end of the presentation. There will be time available for me to answer any questions you may have. Sounds good? Okay then. Next one is really important, starting, ending, and transitioning the points in your presentation. Okay? So the very first point that you talk about, you finish it, and then what do you say to start the next one? And then what do you say to transition? What do you say to end and to transition to your next points? So to start, okay, so as I mentioned, the first thing I'm going to talk about is candy. You talk about candy, then you say, so I think you've now got a good understanding of candy, right? Now you're going to talk about the next topic, so you're going to transition. Okay, so let me now move on to the second item, which is chips. Alright, so now you've introduced the second topic. When you finish the second topic, you're going to go to the ending expression again, and then you go to the transition expression again. Okay, and you'll keep repeating that process for all of the topics in your presentation. Next, the presentation conclusion and summary, okay? So you need to tell them what you told them, okay? You need to tell the people what you told them in the presentation. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. Let me give you a summary of what I've been talking about over the last 5 minutes. Now you're going to tell them exactly what you said. So you're going to say something like, well, first I told you about this, next I told you about this, and finally I talked about this. Okay? Just a brief summary of what you told them. Now you get to the Q&A, so You need an easy expression to start your presentation's Q&A. Really easy. Okay, so any questions? And people will start asking you questions. Hopefully they will. Now, when someone asks a question, here's how you answer. Good question. Thanks for bringing that up. Or, thanks for bringing that up. That's a good question. Then, how do you answer a question politely? The best way for me to answer that would be, give them the answer. After you give them the answer, you have to check. Does that answer your question? If they say yes, then you can continue. If they say no, then you answer their question again, okay, in a different way. And then you ask again, does that answer your question? Make sure you get a yes before you stop, okay? Now, what if you don't know the answer, okay? If you don't know the answer, you would say, good question, thanks for bringing that up. To be perfectly honest, I'm afraid I don't have an answer for you. But let me get back to you with an answer by tomorrow. Is that all right? Why don't you leave me your contact info and I'll have an answer for you by tomorrow. Okay? So it's okay if you don't know the answer, but you have to deal with it in the proper way. And you have to give the person the answer when you promise to give it to them. And then you come to the end of your presentation, the two most important words. So here you go. You would say, well, I think that's about it. I want to thank you once again for allowing me to speak to you today. If you have any further questions or want additional information, please feel free to contact me by email or phone. Thank you. So those two important words, thank you. All right, don't forget those. So here's a summary. I just gave you the 12 expressions that you need to start and end a presentation, all the way from the beginning to the end. How to introduce your presentation, introduce yourself, what you're going to talk about, how you're going to transition your topics, how to summarize, and how to deal with questions. And finally, how to end the presentation, all right? So here are some action steps that I want you to take, all right? 6 things here. Number 1 is review all the expressions. Number 2, watch my upcoming sample presentation. I'm going to use all of the expressions I've taught you in a sample presentation. Prepare your own presentation using all the expressions that I've taught you. You should practice at least 10 times before you actually give the presentation. So number 5 is to give your presentation in front of a friend or colleague and then find a larger group of people to present to. Finally, number 6, you want to get some feedback about your performance. Okay? Ask them to check if you used all of the expressions and if they understood your presentation clearly. Okay, so finally, please give us some comments and feedback about what I've just told you here, the 12 expressions. Let me know if they were helpful for you, and also show me your sample presentation of this, okay? Whatever presentation you make, why don't you show us, okay? And so we can give you some feedback on it, and you give us feedback as well. Thank you. Thank you very much, all right? Just want to make sure I said that because last time I forgot. So, thank you very much for joining me here today at presentationexpressions.com. We'll see you again soon next time. Bye-bye.